Mama C, and it's time for your Married at First Sight New Zealand Season 3, Episode 3 recap. Well, first things first, we take a peek at Jonathan and Ray, and we see how things go for them. It's the morning after. They're quite, smiley and kissy-faced and all that, and they seem a bit smitten. They obviously got to know each other quite well, and, yeah. Vicky and Stefan, they seem quite relaxed, and I think it's it's quite easy for them. And Vicky says though that it's going to take time to see what happens on the romance front. Our experts then match up Carmen. She is our first bride tonight. She's 25 and she is a pastry chef, and she seems really down to earth, and she's quite photogenic, and she likes to put nice pictures of herself on Instagram. They match her up with James. James is 29. He is a telecommunications person. He seems like he's a bit of a wild boy. That's first impressions. He's friends with those boys from, was it a couple years ago, from the block? I can't remember. They're like Ling and Zing or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but I think that was something like that. And yeah, they were there, so that was like, I was like, hey, wait, what happened here? A little visit from another show, people. But yeah, so that was kind of funny. James tells his family and friends that he's going to be getting married, and he says, well, I think I'm a good catch, right? And they all just bust up laughing, and that was actually quite hysterical. We then go on, we meet Christopher and his kids. His daughter's a bit nervous, which, she just doesn't want her dad to get his heart broken. But his son is the one who actually signed him up for the show. So isn't that interesting? So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, his daughter's a bit nervous. Christopher, he's quite a bit of a style kind of guy. He's a good looking guy. He takes care of himself. And yeah, he seems like a fun guy. And then we take a look at Rose. Now this is going to be apparently marriage number 4 for Rose. She decided to let the experts, figure it out for her. She's a very girly girl. She likes clothes and shopping and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, she's one of those girly girls. And of course, Carmen's talking to her parents. She asks her dad if he will give her away. Of course he's gonna give her away. And then we move on then to the weddings. Carmen looked absolutely stunning. Her dress was amazing. And I'm just gonna say that when James was standing up with the celebrants and he was mucking about and he's making a few comments, yeah, at one point he says, I hope she's a bit of a baddie. Well, her mom overhears this, right? And she's like, did you say baddie? And he's like, oh, yeah, that's a slang for a good girl. It's like, oh, nice save there, mate. I don't know. But apparently the parents, they got through, or at least the mom got through that or whatever. Maybe he was just being jokey or whatever because he was nervous, or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. That was just really interesting. But then, of course, in walks Carmen with her dad, and James is blown away. She, looks amazing, and he's obviously just, he's just like the fist pumping kind of thing. He's quite rapt, and she, of course, she seems, she seems like she's initially attracted. James says it. For him, apparently, I'm not sure if this was in reference to when he kissed her or whatever, but he said it felt like that he'd known her for a while. So that was kind of cool. And, they just seem to get on like a house on fire. It's quite funny and giddy, and everybody's having a good time. And, yeah, there's quite a bit of chemistry there. Moving on to Christopher, our 55-year-old creative director, I believe he is. Or something to that effect. Anyway, he says he's wearing a statement suit, and yeah, he's got quite a bit of his own personality, his own style in his clothing and that. Rose, of course, she looks beautiful. Yeah. Christopher shakes hands with pretty much everybody that's at the wedding. He's just like a take charge kind of guy. He took command of the room, and apparently that's the kind of guy he is. Um, his first reaction to Rose was, he says his usual type is not as tall, and then his daughter then says that he's into Asian women. So it's like, okay, they were sort of stepping around that, but it was kind of funny the way it came out. Anyway, so yeah, she initially, she's not his usual type, I guess, apparently. um, but he, of course, he thinks she's a beautiful woman. Of course she is. Then we move back to James uh, and Carmen's wedding. So James ends up chatting with Carmen's dad, which I thought was good. It was nice because he's trying to get to know him a bit. He wishes him luck, and he's like, just take your time, and that kind of thing. And James's groomsmen, they seem quite pleased with her because they say she's she's really gets on well with the boys and all that. So that's good, eh? So back to Christopher and Rose. Rose, she makes it quite clear she does not want to push, and go move quickly or in intimacy and that sort of thing, which, fair enough, right? But, yeah, so tonight we end up with everybody's married and everybody seems like, okay, this is all good. But then they show us the previews for the next show, and it looks like James apparently has hooked up with one of the other brides, and of course they're all going to the same resort. Now, if this turns out to be like Australia's Married at First Sight, where there's like the swapping and stuff, I will just stop watching this show, because I will be like, nope, that's it. Because after I finish watching that, I said I will never watch Married at First Sight Australia ever again, because I just felt like a horrible person afterwards, because I just couldn't stand what was happening, and I couldn't stand it. Ugh. Anyway, so back to our show. Let's hope that it doesn't go down that road, because I will just be like, really? No. And I will probably be whinging a bit if that starts to happen, so God help us all. Anyway, that wraps it up for tonight. Join us again next time for another recap of Married at First Sight New Zealand Season 3. I'm Mama C. Have a great one, everybody. See you next time.